Hello and welcome to Woodward's Watercolours. Now tonight, off the back of having done a series on the beginner's course to lino printing, I thought it would be really good while I had the opportunity of borrowing a friend's very fancy lino cutters, which I have never tried, compared with the Essdee Lino cutters, which as far as I know are the cheapest on the market. I've only ever used the cheapest, so this video is going to be really interesting to compare the cheapest with probably the most expensive. So come with me and let's compare the two of them together. So here we have the Essdee little lino cutter, which doubles up as a burnisher, actually, which then you can press down. I don't find it works that well because it's the bend on the wooden spoon, like I've showed before, that actually when you're pressing down to get the print that works the best. But what I wanted to show this time is actually how, in more detail, how you put it all together. So it comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different cutting blades. That is really, it all stores nice and neatly in here, as you could see in the little intro video before. So what I do is I screw this bit on, not fully, and then I find the little hole, if you can see in there, find the same shape, put obviously the blunt end in, and then I screw it in, and that's it, nicely and fixedly attached. So this is all that I have ever known, and it works really well. So you've got a variety of different marks that you can make. I just want to go through each of them really nice and simply for you. Now, obviously you need to be careful as you're putting the two of them in. This is more of a curved edge, like a C, rather than the other one's more of a V. We've then got a smaller V. Just doing these nice and simple lines here. This soft cut lino, which I'm cutting on, is just an absolute joy to use. This is one that I would use, if you see in the video, I would use it for just doing the nice, even, same width of line across for the likes of a border. And then we have a smaller, actually this is a smaller C, this one. I was going to say a smaller V again. Smaller C, just need to pull this one off. A smaller C again. Now it can give you a much thicker line, but again you can vary the pressure with this one. You can see how that changed, just that little jolt there. You'll find that whenever you're lino printing that the jolts happen every so often. And then also you've got this very small one here, which I would use for the smallest detail. And it really does give you a very fine line, if you can see that. Now this one I have never actually used. I imagine that you would probably use it if you were, say you got that little edge and you're cutting it, but it's not one that I've ever used before. Oh, it's very interesting to use actually. I'm not really sure what the application of it is, and if you know, please do share with me in the comments, then that would be great to know. I would assume that it is probably just for if I'm coming up to the edge of something, then I can kind of pre-mark it, and then as I get the blade in, then I can remove that. So nice and simply, it's pretty functional. I'm so used to just screwing and unscrewing it. Let me just show you how it goes back together. So the top goes in here. We just make sure, we obviously don't want the cuttings in there as well. And it all pops in there. The lid bit goes on, and you screw it down. There it is. And I think roughly you're probably, and certainly in the pack, I know that the Essdee beginner lino cutting packs are about £25, 25 or £30. And if you're buying one of these little cutters, I know you can buy them. It's like £3 or £4, maybe £5 at the most. So that's the cheaper one. That's the one that I'm most familiar using. Okay, so next up are the most expensive that I know of. Now, I've borrowed these from a friend. I haven't spent £150 on them, and she's kindly given me permission to use them for this video. And I'm being very integrous and honest with you that I have not spent £150 on them, but I have considered it. Would they be worth it? So I'm really quite excited to get the opportunity to try them out, and this is the first time I've ever tried them, so I'll give you my honest opinion. So these are by a company called, I would assume is called Pfeil, Pfeil, so it's obviously right there, made in Switzerland, and Swiss made anything seems to be something of quite an exception. So we're just going to take them out one by one, and let's have a look. So what we have this time is, this is a really quite, if you can see it there, really quite a shallow, almost like a sea. So we're just going to just see what this does. Okay. So it's a very different cutting experience with this one. Oh, can't go down too deeply. Okay, so it, this is interesting. So I would have to, there we go, if we just apply a nice even pressure. So it's given quite a thick removal from the top of that, which is going to show really, really well. So let's set this one here. Okay, so the next one we have up, okay, so this is possibly, if you can see on that end there, maybe do it over here so you can see a wee bit better. It is probably the finest. So let's, okay, so that's beautiful. So it's pretty much the same to use. So that is really lovely. Now, because this is the first time that I've ever used it, now what I know is that you want to always keep the blade away from yourself. Just want to try a snaky line here and see how that comes out. Now that is impressive. I'm very fond of that one. Okay. Then we've got this one, which is more of a V, if you can see that. Yeah. And let's see what it does. Okay. So it's quite similar to the other one. I'm actually probably getting it even thinner. Oh, look how simply that glides across. Now, the one thing that I would notice, and this is where trying something for the first time in a video is really interesting, because you actually get the genuine reaction. It's really, really comfortable to hold. These obviously are molded so that, you know, your hand palm goes in really nicely. And I was actually thinking about and looking at them, I wonder how different they would be. Lovely. Really lovely to use. Okay, so we're getting into the bigger boyos now. Now this is much bigger than anything I have ever used to cut. So, and it's obviously going to let me gouge in much more. Okay, that's all right. I would imagine this is a little bit dull. I think it probably needs a little bit of a sharpen, but you can see the sheer area that I can use. Now, I had to use quite a bit of pressure, but that is a phenomenal area that I'm able to, let me move all of those a wee bit more into shot. It's a phenomenal area that I'm able to cover. Okay, this one's a little bit more shallow again. So, oh wow, oh my goodness me. So actually, these were freshly used a little while ago, not by me. Actually worked quite well to show. I'm deliberately keeping my hands away from this because you can imagine the damage that that would do if that was into my, you know, if I was cutting like this and it slipped, which regularly happens, even if you're more experienced in doing this, it's just so easy for it to slip off. Okay. Okay. And then we're down to the final one. Oh, baby, look at the size of this thing. My goodness me, look at that. Now, let's see what this one does. Okay, so just having to push along. I think that one probably needs a little bit more of a sharpen. But my goodness, look at that area that you're able to lift. The other thing I would imagine that you could do with this one, with actually all of these, is you just start to lift off big chunks of areas and get, like, if you were doing the scale on a fish or something like that. Just, I was aware there I was starting to move towards myself, which is not a good idea when you're wielding a sharp implement and applying pressure. If that was to hit you, that would not be a very pleasant experience. Okay. Okay, so I have played. Now, So I wanted to just demo the ones that I've used before, which is this small area, but because this is the first time I'm using these, let me see, was it this one? Now that was wonderful, just the way that glided across, and then there was the other V one there, which was, it gave me an even finer. Okay, so I'm sitting here thinking, what is my response to this? I think my response is, this is a different ball game. This is certainly getting the job done. It's plastic, it's cheap, it gets the job done. Goodness me, you feel like a craftsman using these. The way that they mold into your hand, the sheer way, particularly those lovely thin ones, the way they glide, the way this one here is just lifting off so much quicker compared to, look at the different widths that you're getting there. You're just not getting anywhere near it. One of the things I find is with the thicker one, with this red one, is that when you're digging in, it's very easy to go right through, whereas with the likes of this big boy here, it's done in such a way that it's shallow, so it's going to lift off. I can see that if I was going to do lino printing more and more and more, £150 investment for tools that are going to do me for the rest of my life, yeah, I think that's all right. Which wins for me? I think they both win. If I'm just playing about, this is all right. If I'm getting more serious, I want to get more invested, then I wouldn't have a hesitation of spending £150 on it. Very interesting. Two different experiences. Definitely this is much more versatile. You're not having to take one tool off and change it all the time, so you're just literally lifting it, like having different brushes. Much more functional, much more comfortable, much more quality. Excellent. Oh, that was an interesting experience. You want my honest opinion, obviously. This is dead on. It's dead on. You know, I've cut so many blocks with this, and it's fine. It does the job. Great place to start. Really good quality entry-level product. Hasn't failed me. Used it lots. Dead on. But this one, these Pfeil ones, totally different experience. Feel like a craftsman using these. Lovely to fit on your hand. Just the sheer way that it really, they glided across the lino block. Yeah, you may be saying that my reactions are too much, but I didn't expect to love those as much as I do from having used them. It's just a different experience. It feels all the more excellent in using them, and I think that's probably key. I wanted to do this so it actually was a fresh and real reaction, and here you're getting it. These are absolutely wonderful. These are going to do you for a lifetime, and actually be able to pass them on to your kids and your grandkids. And if you get a sharpening stone, you're just going to be able to use them over and over and over again. So £5 dead on, gets the job done. 150 quid, well worth the money, and I would pay it. So that's your review. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your experiences of using them. As always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to share and to like and subscribe. And I'll see you sometime soon on the next episode of Woodward's Watercolours. Bye for now.